Welcome to the Art of Snobbery, the Captain Helps series for those who like their wisdom slightly ironic and their superiority well-informed. Among all the refined arts of snobbery, such as whiskey, fashion, jazz, philosophy is the easiest. Because honestly, you don't need to know anything. You just need to ask questions that sound deep. Philosophy is the only sport where ignorance can look like genius, if performed with the right tone, and preferably a glass of something French. It began in Greece, as most pretentious things do. Socrates walked around Athens asking questions until someone finally poisoned him, proof that too much curiosity is bad for networking. Plato imagined a perfect world that no one could visit, the philosophical equivalent of Instagram. And Aristotle tried to organize reality itself, the first man to make thinking look exhausting. They didn't solve much, but they made asking why sound noble. And that's the only tool a snob really needs. Then came the Middle Ages, that long, candlelit period when thinking was allowed, but only if it ended with the sentence, "And God agrees." The church kept philosophy on a short leash. You could ask questions about the divine, as long as you reached the correct conclusion. And yet, within that discipline, some minds found freedom. Augustine wondered whether time itself was real, and admitted he only understood it until someone asked him to explain. Thomas Aquinas, ever the optimist, tried to reconcile Aristotle with the Bible, as if reason and revelation could finally shake hands over wine and wafer. These church fathers were theologians with philosophical ambitions, thinkers who dressed logic in Latin, turning faith into something you could almost debate. It was a time when ideas wore robes and whispered. A few brave souls tried to go further, but curiosity back then could literally get you burned. Yet even under the shadow of the altar, philosophy survived, hidden in monasteries, translated by Arab scholars, and smuggled inside the margins of sacred texts. Doubt never dies, it just lowers its voice. And then, the candles burned brighter. The Renaissance arrived, and with it, curiosity stepped back into daylight. Art rediscovered beauty, science rediscovered wonder, and philosophy rediscovered man himself. For the first time in centuries, it was no longer dangerous to think, only unfashionable not to. Erasmus, that charming humanist, taught that intelligence and irony could coexist. He mocked the foolishness of dogma while still wearing its robes. And soon after, Spinoza, the quiet lens grinder of Amsterdam, proposed a God that wasn't above the world, but was the world itself, a divine substance made of logic, not thunder. They didn't just question faith, they refined it, polished it, and made it safe for dinner conversation. Centuries later, Descartes sat alone by the fire and decided that the only thing he could be sure of was himself. It was the first great selfie in intellectual history. Kant followed, constructing a moral labyrinth so intricate that even angels needed a GPS. Schopenhauer, ever the pessimist, declared that life was driven by blind will, and that happiness was merely the pause between two disappointments. Then Nietzsche, brilliant, broken, dramatic, announced that God was dead and meaning was up for grabs. Sartre, chain-smoking in a Paris cafe, told us we are condemned to be free, a sentence only the French could make sound romantic. And Camus, the poet of the absurd, reminded us that life has no inherent meaning, but that we can live it beautifully anyway. To push the boulder up the hill, knowing it will fall again, and to smile while doing it. Each philosopher built a system. The snob only borrows the lines. Yes, philosophy gave us democracy, logic, ethics, and the beautiful idea that truth is up for discussion. But for the snob, it gave something far more practical, phrases that can silence a room. You nod gravely when someone mentions Kierkegaard, even if you're 60% sure he's a furniture designer. And when cornered, you simply say, "But isn't the question itself the answer?" And watch lesser minds collapse under the weight of your vagueness. Philosophy is the ultimate snobbery because it costs nothing, proves nothing, and impresses everyone. And if someone ever catches you contradicting yourself, just whisper, "Ah, but perhaps contradiction is the point." A few rules: never answer a question directly, always respond with another question. When in trouble, whisper a French name, preferably Camus or Sartre. Use words like existential, metaphysical, and dialectic, but never in the same sentence. It's too revealing. And if someone quotes a philosopher you don't know, just nod slowly and say, "Ah, but that's a very Western perspective. Congratulations, you've just out-snobbed philosophy itself." Philosophy began as a search for truth. It became a search for meaning, and for the snob, it's a search for applause. So no, you don't need to understand Kant or Nietzsche. You just need to look as if you might, because the art of philosophical snobbery is not to think deeply, but to make everyone else feel shallow. This has been another reflection in the Art of Snobbery, where Captain Help explores how to be smarter every day, in every way, and never entirely sure why. Each episode of Captain Help explores how we think, live, and stay human in a noisy world. Calm reflections with a hint of irony and a lot of sense. Subscribe, reflect, and doubt elegantly.